We have a Chelsea fan in the building, and so therefore it is necessary to talk about Mauricio Pochettino, often labelled as a manager that did wonderful things for Tottenham, took them to second, took them to a Champions League final, didn't close out either, and he obviously had the Battle of the Bridge, which Chelsea actually had a hand in stopping them winning the league, and then he went to PSG. What do you make of Mauricio Pochettino? Do we feel like he's one of the more overhyped managers in the league, if you like?
I feel like you're suggesting something the way you're asking that question. I buy into Mauricio Pochettino. Obviously, I'm going to say that as a Chelsea fan. But in terms of, I think we're clouded and shrouded in modern football. It all has to be about winning stuff. And obviously at Chelsea, it's always been about winning stuff. But there's a reason why Marcelo Bielsa, everyone fawns over him. What's he won in European football? He's got to a Copa del Rey final. He's got to a final in the Europa League, and everybody goes to him as if he's the oracle of football. If you hear the way Pep Guardiola eulogises about him, and he hasn't won anything. It's not all about winning stuff. It's about what you implement at the teams you go into. And I think Pochettino, when he went to Spurs, they're in disarray. They just sold Harry Kane. He got a group of players together. If you see what he done to Dele Alli, if you hear about what Dele Alli says about Pochettino, he's a manager that puts his arm around players. He makes them better. He makes them perform to the highest level. Got Spurs to Champions League final. They didn't win it. Harry Kane had one leg. It's circumstantial, the reason why he didn't win trophies at Spurs. But I think at Chelsea, with the purse strings that Chelsea have got and the ability to go in the market and bring in reinforcements and players that can win trophies, there's no doubt in my mind that Pochettino will end that trophy drought at Chelsea very, very soon.
Extremely compelling argument. I was sat here ready to rebuff everything you said, but now I'm like, hey, I'd let Glenn do that instead.
Yeah, do you know what? It was very compelling. I enjoyed it, actually, and it's got me on board a little bit. I think that Pochettino... I think you're right with the as far as making players better. I think he does do that, and he did do that at Spurs, and he came within a whisker of winning the Champions League. So it isn't always about winning things; it's about improving the environment you're in. On the other side, I think PSG fans will probably disagree with only the equivalent to the FA Cup and the league once over there in 2 years, well, 18 months over there, should I say, but with a glamorous squad. I think as far as Chelsea's concerned, I think this young, mouldable, very talented group will suit Pochettino to be able to get the best out of them. Eventually, I think it will take time. But on the other hand as well, I think he has been the media darling. And I think that every big job, every big six job all over the continent is been touted for. So there is an element to that as well.
What I find fascinating is, what is success for Chelsea? Because for Spurs, it was competing once he'd done it a few times. And it was taking Spurs right to the end to win trophies. He didn't do that at Spurs, which is why Spurs are still trophyless. At PSG, with no disrespect to the job, winning the league is not difficult in Paris. Many managers have done it and repeatedly done it. And so he comes to Chelsea now, where the expectation is to win the title. Maybe not this season, certainly to be close to next season. By third season, they have to win the title. But Pochettino hasn't quite proven that he maybe has the tactical nous or even just the ability to go all the way.
Yeah.
Would you say that's a fair thing to say?
Yeah, that's fair. I couldn't admit.
All right, it feels like you disagree there.
Yeah, no, but like I heard you say your point, and I was like, I could sit here and disagree and put a Chelsea hat on. No, let's be honest, he hasn't won trophies in England. Like you said, at PSG, it's very easy to win Liga. If you've got the best players in the world, you've got Mbappe, Neymar, and Messi. But I think with what this clear late capital and Bowley era has showed is that Chelsea are very much about the books. And they've brought in a manager that, in their mind, has got a proven track record of finishing in the top four. In order for Chelsea's financial manipulation to really pay off, they have to finish in the European places this season. And that's what Poch has been brought in to do. Whether Chelsea fans can chin that and accept it remains to be seen, because Chelsea fans for the last 20 years have been spoiled by trophy after trophy after trophy, won every trophy 2 times over. And so Chelsea fans will not have much patience for a manager that doesn't deliver trophies within a year or year and a half or 2 years. But for the ownership group, they need a manager that gets them back into Europe. Similar to the position that Arsenal were in under the back end of Wenger, where it's like, we need to finish in the top 4 every season and then go from there. Chelsea, to make all these transfers work, has to finish in the top 4. And whether the ownership group will come out and admit that remains to be seen. But I think that's the MO for Poch, which is not too dissimilar to what he did at Spurs.
So, a trophy second season?
I would like to think so. Yeah, I would like to think so. He's had to come out and defend himself a little bit in the press when he said, "I do want to win trophies," because at Spurs, I think he was misquoted as saying he didn't really care about the Carabao Cup. And it's important for him to progress in competitions. I'm a Chelsea fan and seen Chelsea lose the last 3 FA Cup finals that we played in. That needs to end. Chelsea needs to start winning silverware because, like I said, the fan base has been so used to success over the last few years.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a process. They've got a lot of young talent in there. They're in there for the long term, and hopefully they've got a manager for the long term, and they can build some stability in the football club. It seems to have been a little bit of a revolving door, and I think that is ultimately why they've got themselves into the mess they did last year. We know this is a new era with new men at the helm, new players, all there on very, very long contract, all very young. And like I say, they're mouldable. I think Pochettino will eventually get the best out of them. And I think, personally, it's about what the owners think, and they need to shut out the noise and trust the process.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN+.